So prana, or the energetics of the universe, this kind of power and flow, the electricity of the universe flows through channels. In the same way that the electricity in your home flows through the channels or the wires and then can be accessed. What's really interesting about that electricity is that with it, as our teacher will say, you can operate a heater or you can operate an air conditioner with the same electricity. And that is very much similar as that's the same way our bodies work. So kind of the right side of our body, or this right channel that kind of culminates here at the right nostril, is the solar, or the energetic, the motivating, the heating energy of our body. And the left nostril, the left channel that runs up and down the main channel of the body, the nervous system or the spinal column, this left side, this left channel, is the more nourishing, receptive, calming and soothing, or more kind of feminine, lunar energy. So we kind of have the heater that runs on the right side and the cooler, the air conditioner, that runs on the left side. For most people, we kind of vacillate back and forth. They say every 90 minutes or so, your breath will have more of an emphasis between the left or the right side. And also depending on your temperament, some people are more kind of cool, calm, nurturing kind of people. Some people are more energetic, motivating, inspiring kind of people. And that, a lot of that has to do with whether the energy is predominantly running through the left nostril or the right nostril of your being. So one of the ways you can check is if you just give a little blow, you can feel. And actually right now for us, it's still kind of morning. It's cold. We're in that kind of lunar energy of the day. And I can feel that the strength of the breath is more coming out of the left nostril. So why is this information important for us to have? And how does alternate nostril breathing help us to either harness or harmonize that energy? There's actually quite a few reasons, quite a few benefits, and we're going to continue to talk about those. The main one is just about harmonizing the ups and the downs. So often when the energy is going more through the right side of the body, that prana, we're breathing, activating that right solar energy, we can be more anxious, we can be more aggressive, we can be more frustrated or angry, we can be more stimulated. None of these are real judgments. These are just qualities. You know that if you spend a little bit of time out in the sun, you may feel great and warm and energized. But if you spend the whole day out in the sun, you can start to get hot. You can start to get burnt. You can start to get dried out. You can start to get a little grumpy or angry. So it's just about kind of broadening our awareness of the play of these subtle energies. So if you are feeling more, if the energy is running more through that kind of left or lunar side, we may feel calm, we may feel cold. We may notice that our circulation begins to kind of contract or slow down. We may feel heavy. We may feel depressed. And depending on what our habitual tendency of either kind of up or down, or motivated and outward from inspired to agitated, or inward, this kind of more lunar energy of calm and grounded, to procrastinating and maybe depressed or feeling really kind of low and cold. So one of the things is when you're starting to feel the extremes of those energies one way or the other, and most of us have a tendency to where we lean towards one or the other, then if you practice a little bit of alternate nostril breathing, maybe 5-10 minutes, just in that moment, if you can excuse yourself from a situation, you will begin to find that the intensity of the emotions can lessen, can be realigned and harmonized, or just kind of brought back into a little bit of a place of balance. If some of these emotions for you are very deep seated and have been very low, like the far ends of anxiety or aggression or frustration or impatience or depression or heaviness or feelings of guilt or sadness, or the ones that run more towards that spectrum, this kind of spectrum, if you've had them for a long time, it may take a while through the practice, but what we really love about this practice is it is very, very practical. You can do it anytime you want. Very cost effective. And completely natural. There's no side effects. And it's something that you can do symptomatically. So if you're feeling those symptoms, you can, those emotions are symptoms of that energy being out of balance. When you're feeling that, you can do the practice. But also it is very profound as a preventative measure. So before meditation, upon waking, before a meal, very powerful to help support digestion. If you've got a kind of slump in the afternoon where you're feeling tired or heavy, before bed, if you want to kind of support your sleep. And one of the greatest ways to use it is especially if you're waking at night or having a hard time going to sleep. If you're having a hard time going to sleep because your energy is kind of stimulated or activated, this practice may really help you to fall asleep easier. And if you wake up, often we'll wake up because our energy is stimulated. So if you do this practice before waking, if you do this practice when you wake up at night, you wake up in the middle of the night, rather than turning on the computer, which just this is what happens. We often will get emails from clients who are going through their emails in the middle of the night, and you can tell that they're kind of have woken up and kind of cleaning a few things up. So instead of maybe turning on the TV or going to the computer, which has even more of a stimulating effect, if you just kind of sit up in bed, or you can even lay down, but practice your alternate nostril breathing. And maybe at the beginning you'd have to 15 minutes, a half an hour, but I promise you, with consistent practice, it will harmonize those really intense swings of kind of depression to immense agitation. So those are some of the hows and whys around the energy. So we can talk a little bit more about that kind of in our next video. I'm going to share a few more real practical tips on that energy. But all we'd like you to do now is, again, just give it a practice. So this time, as you're practicing, you can bring a little bit more of that kind of awareness to it. So if your tendency is to practice slowly, notice if that relates to kind of a heavy or sad or depressed energy. If your tendency is to practice a little more aggressively, if you're trying to control it, if you're very focused, if you're really kind of intense, then see what happens if you can just let go a little bit, just create a little bit more space. Remembering that we can just use one hand to block the nostril. We inhale and then we exhale on the switch. Exhale, inhale, and switch. Exhale, inhale, and switch. If your arm begins to get sore, you can just hold it. Inhale, switch, exhale, inhale, switch. The other thing you can do is you can also just take your pillow and you can rest your arm on that. Nice pillow. So a couple troubleshooting considerations. So why don't you just continue with the practice for a few more minutes, taking note of what your energy is like when you started this, this practice today. And then noticing after 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, how your energy may change, how it becomes balanced, how it maybe becomes more harmonized, and with time, how those highs and lows may become balanced out.